What's up everybody, this is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue. Some of you guys that have been subscribed to my channel for a while know that I just made the transition a few months ago to becoming an over-the-road trucker. So my content hasn't been quite as frequent as it used to be, and if you're still rocking with your boy, I do appreciate it. If you want to follow me on that journey, I'm going to leave a link to that channel in the iCard above and description below. Come on over and see how your boy is doing. What I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be making some keto-friendly stuffed or crab stuffed mushrooms. We're going to be keeping this keto-friendly by not adding any breadcrumbs or anything like that I would typically be adding to my stuffed mushrooms. Let's come on in, take a look at these ingredients, and we'll get rocking. Now before we get into these ingredients, I want to let you know that I'm making more than the recipe that's going to be in the description, because I plan on using this stuffing to go in maybe some jalapeno poppers or something like that down the road. So I'm cooking a little bit more than what's going to be in the description. The ingredients are going to be pretty simple. We're going to be using some crab claw meat. You can find this typically near your meat section in your grocery store. Cream cheese. I'm using some Old Bay rub, and that you can find that in a container that looks like this. There is going to be a little bit of carbs in there, but not a lot, because the rub is a little bit different than your typical Old Bay seasoning. It has just a tad bit of brown sugar in it. We're going with a little bit of pepper and paprika just to pump it up a little bit more. I'm using some fresh oregano. You can use dried oregano as well. And I have that rough chopped, as well as my garlic. And the reason I have that rough chopped as opposed to minced is I kind of want it to be almost like a little flavor bomb coming up when you bite into this. And we also have some finely grated Parmesan cheese. The mushrooms I'm going to be using, these are shiitake mushrooms. You can use regular button mushrooms or cremini mushrooms as well. I like the shiitake mushrooms. They're not quite as deep, but they're usually a little bit rounder. So that's what we're rocking with. And I add a little bit of salt to it now just to dry out as much moisture as possible before we get them in the oven. So when it comes to whipping up this recipe, you can get as kind of creative as you want, add things that you like. One suggestion I would make is to have equal parts sour cream to your crab mixture. I was also thinking about doing this with salmon, so you could do this with a number of different types of fish as well. It's like I mentioned earlier, we're just going to be throwing everything in. So we got our crab meat, our Old Bay rub seasoning, our pepper, our paprika, our rough chopped garlic, and our rough chopped oregano. Like I said earlier, dried oregano would be just as fine. This I would use my hands with this, but I don't want a bunch of this stuff stuck on my gloves, so we're just going to work this in with a spoon. Now that we have this mixed in well, I'm going to grab my mushrooms and we're going to start filling up our mushrooms. Now when it comes to stuffing these mushrooms, you can add as much or as little as you'd like. I'm going to have them just so they kind of crest about like that. So you have a little bit popping up over the top, but it's not an extreme amount of the stuffing in it. So guys, that is a wrap. Like I said, I use 16 ounces of crab meat and 16 ounces of cream cheese, and I have about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, about 16 of these mushrooms. It looks like I have about enough crab meat to knock out about 8 jalapeno poppers, so I'll let you know how those taste possibly in a future video. Now we're going to hit it with our jalapeno peppers. Slices, and these are just thinly sliced jalapeno peppers. Alright, we got these stuffed. We're hitting them with our jalapeno pepper slices. And now we're going to get them in the oven 400 degrees for 30 minutes. Now if they start getting overly brown, just throw a little bit of foil over it and keep it pushing. Anyway, I'll see you back in 30 minutes. So guys, here's what they look like coming out of the oven. I did plate them up, hit them with a little bit of that Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna let them cool down for about 15 minutes before we get into them. So we've had a chance to let these cool down a little bit. Sorry if you hear a little football in the background, but I got some people over there watching that. Let's get into these mushrooms, see what's up. Now I'm not gonna cut them or do anything like that. We're going gangster on it. Man, so simple, so good. If you're looking for a simple keto stuffed mushroom, give this one a try. Like I said, I used the crab meat in it. I think this would go well with any white fish, even a salmon or shrimp. Knock it out. I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by No Hippie Barbecue. I do appreciate it. Comment, subscribe. I'm out.